There's 2,500 a year that get a spinal cord injury, but only one in 3 or 1 in 4 will get the help and support that I got. It's such an important part of the rehabilitation side. So when I came out of hospital, me being me, I thought everybody got the same help and support. And then when I found out that actually a large number of people will go home straight from hospital, I just couldn't comprehend that in the UK in 2021, 2022, in 2023, that, you know, the 6th richest country in the world, that we send people home from hospital that don't have the knowledge, the education in how to empty the bowel, the bladder, look after the skin, and I couldn't cope with it.
Well, I think Hudgell Solicitors has always had a sort of reputation for getting involved in causes and campaigns that make a difference. We've worked with the Spinal Injuries Association for a number of years in a sort of, I would say, sort of bit of a piecemeal on-off way. This is different, and this comes from particularly association with Martin. What started out as sort of client relationship, we've personally become friends. Martin's become friends with other people in the business, and there's been a real powerful education piece for us as well.
I wanted to give something back, and that's where my real journey started with the Spinal Injuries Association, and I found out, you know, about how many people get a spinal cord injury in the UK, but actually the depressing part is how many actually get help and support. I can't just rock up to a train station and get on a train. I've got to actually ring and give 24 hours notice. There's restaurants and bars that I can't get into because I'm in a wheelchair. There's hotels, believe it or not.
We were talking outside, weren't we, about sporting events. So, you know, you mentioned how you'd gone to a gig at Wembley or a fixture, whatever it was, and it was all fine and everything worked like clockwork until you were going home, and nobody made any provision, so you were virtually stranded at Wembley. This whole issue around awareness, the sort of postcode lottery, and it sort of resonates with something else that we're doing with Paul Spence and Paul for Brain, which is about neurological support for those that suffer brain injury. And it's the same sort of thing, depending on where you are, where you're based, how you can advocate for yourself. I think that's a really big thing as well. I mean, you know, you listen to Martin, he's a very good advocate for himself, but there are other people that are the silent ones that possibly get left behind. And so it's sort of trying to fill those very substantial voids of support for people that are either forgotten or live in areas where the funding and awareness is not of the same level of different areas.
You know, it shouldn't matter where you live in the country. You know, you should get that help and support.
And as a business and as lawyers, we sometimes have to remind ourselves of our very purpose and to try and help with some of the really difficult situations where people suffer life-limiting or life-changing injuries, demonstrates really where we can help to try and make a difference.
When I've questioned why I survived that night, because I shouldn't, you know, I was 6 meters away, everybody around us died instantly. But when I was at the top of Kilimanjaro, I got a voice and it said, like, you're here to change the world and to make the better. I believe that we can change you know, the world and the UK, and it's great to be able to do that with Neil and Hudgell's.